The product we tested was the RCA CD clock radio. My name is Olivia.
I'm Evan.
I am Prati.
And I'm Emily.
We chose a dorm room in Maple Hall because this is a natural environment where students would be found using alarm clocks. Our user group was college students from the ages of 18 to 20. We chose this group because they are most likely to not have much experience with older alarm clocks.
Our first task was setting the current time. We chose this task because it's the main function of the alarm clock, and we predicted that there would be some problems with completing the task. We observed some possible design flaws in regard to changing the time and wanted to see if our users reflected those concerns. Our next task was to set an alarm. This is a common function that is important to college students who need to get up for class, and our last task was to tune the radio. Most college students listen to music through streaming apps, so we wanted to test whether tuning the radio was intuitive. We first recorded behavioral metrics that included facial expressions and verbal feedback from their think out loud process. Our second metric recorded effectiveness through timing how long it took for the participants to complete each task. Our last metric measured satisfaction of the user through rating their confidence level of completing the task correctly on a scale from 1 to 5, with 1 being the least confident and 5 being the most.
Our first task of setting the current time took an average of 5 minutes and 40 seconds for the users to complete. The average confidence level was 5. The behavioral metrics showed that the users were generally confused and frustrated with the process, but were confident that they properly completed the task. They were generally displeased with how inefficient changing the time was. Our second task of setting an alarm took an average of 1 minute and 9 seconds for the users to complete. The average confidence level was a 3.83. It seemed that the users had issues navigating the interface and were generally left unsure of their completion of the task. Our final task of tuning the radio took an average of 41 seconds for the users to complete. The average confidence level was 4.5. Even though they were all very confident, none of them completed the task properly because it was hard to tell which station they were on.
Our first design recommendation for Puffco is to add a button to switch between AM and PM, as well as a button to change the hours. The users were irritated with how tedious the process was to change the time. Our second recommendation is to give some sort of confirmation to the user that an alarm is set because they were all worried that they hadn't completed the task. Our last recommendation is to add more tick marks on the tuning knob to more clearly indicate the station numbers. If we were to do this usability test again, we would make sure to further interact with the user by asking for their recommendations on how to improve the design, as well as using more objective metrics. An example of a more objective metric would be to use next time in counting the number of times buttons were pressed.